This could change everything for millions of immigrants. New 2025 immigration rules are rolling out, and for the first time in years, even green card holders could face the risk of deportation. Yes, you heard that right. People who've lived legally in the US for years, built careers, paid taxes, and raised families, could suddenly find themselves under review. The Department of Homeland Security is tightening enforcement in ways we haven't seen before, and the fine print in these new rules is leaving immigration lawyers and families across America in shock. For years, holding a green card meant stability, a sense of belonging. But under these new changes, a single mistake, a missed filing, or even a misunderstanding in your record could now count against you. Some holders could lose their status permanently. And the worst part? Many don't even know they're at risk. Quietly, these updates are redefining who is considered compliant and who isn't, and that's why this story is so important. In this video, we'll break down exactly what's changing in 2025, why so many immigration experts are calling this a silent crackdown, and what it means if you, your spouse, or anyone in your family holds a green card. This isn't just speculation, these are official policy shifts that are already being reviewed, and the consequences could be life-changing. Stay tuned until the very end, because I'll explain who's most affected, what triggers deportation risk, and what you can do right now to protect your residency status before it's too late. This could be the difference between keeping your American dream alive or losing it overnight. And if you want YouTube to keep recommending updates that protect your rights and your future, make sure to hit the like button right now. It helps this urgent message reach every green card holder who needs to hear it today. When we talk about immigration in America, we often think about the struggle to get a green card, the long years of paperwork, interviews, background checks, and waiting. But what we rarely talk about is what happens after you finally get it, that quiet sense of relief that you've made it, that you've secured your future, that your American dream is finally real. For decades, the green card has been the golden ticket to stability. But what's happening in 2025 has many immigrants asking the same question: is that stability now slipping away? These new immigration rules, which many are calling the toughest since 2018, are not just about border control or new visa limits. They go straight to the heart of what it means to be a lawful permanent resident. The Department of Homeland Security has introduced new criteria that redefine good standing, meaning green card holders can now be reviewed under stricter standards. It's not just criminal offenses or fraud anymore, it's smaller, technical things. Gaps in tax records, prolonged travel outside the US, or even inconsistencies in documentation could raise red flags that weren't serious before. Let's talk about how we got here. Over the past few years, immigration enforcement has evolved in waves. First came stricter border policies, then a tighter focus on work authorization. Now, as part of what officials call the Residency Integrity Review, the focus has shifted to existing residents, green card holders who, until now, thought they were safe. Officials say this is about ensuring compliance, but immigrant advocacy groups are calling it something else: a quiet purge. What's triggering this wave of fear is the fine print buried in the new 2025 rule changes. It allows immigration officers to review green card status during routine updates, things like renewing a travel permit, filing for naturalization, or updating your information. During these reviews, if they find what they consider disqualifying patterns, they can initiate proceedings to revoke permanent residency. The shocking part is how vague those patterns are defined. For example, missing a tax filing, having an unreported change of address, or spending more than 6 months outside the country, even for family emergencies, could now be interpreted as grounds for investigation. People are scared. Immigration lawyers across major U.S. cities are reporting an increase in calls from clients who have lived here for 10, 15, even 25 years, suddenly unsure about their status. Many of them have American-born children, stable jobs, and homes. Yet, because of these new rule interpretations, they're now afraid to travel abroad or even apply for citizenship. And that fear isn't exaggerated, it's very real. Take Maria, for example. She's been a green card holder for nearly 14 years. She works as a nurse in California, pays taxes every year, and has 2 teenage kids in high school. But in 2022, she had to return to her home country for several months to care for her sick mother. Now, under the new 2025 review system, extended absences like hers could trigger scrutiny. She recently received a notice requesting additional documentation about her travel history, something she's never been asked for before. She says she's terrified that a decision she made out of love for her family could now cost her everything she's built in the US. This is exactly what experts are warning about the rise of technical deportations. These are deportations not based on crimes, but on procedural or administrative grounds. Things like failing to report a new job within a specific time frame, discrepancies in address records, or not updating one's residency information fast enough after a move. Under previous systems, such issues could be fixed. Now, they could be used as evidence that a person failed to maintain lawful status. And if you think this is just talk, think again. Several states have already begun implementing internal reviews based on these 2025 changes. In Texas, New York, and Florida, immigration attorneys say they've seen a noticeable rise in deportation notices sent to permanent residents. The key phrase that keeps appearing in these letters is review of residency compliance. It's bureaucratic language that sounds harmless until you realize it's the first step toward removal proceedings. The Biden administration insists that these changes are part of an effort to modernize and strengthen the immigration system, ensuring that only those fully compliant with the law retain permanent residency. But critics argue that it's a thinly veiled crackdown targeting the very people who have already proven their worth: workers, parents, and taxpayers. The problem isn't the intention, it's the execution. When rules are written vaguely, enforcement becomes arbitrary in an immigration law that can destroy lives. So, what does this mean for the average green card holder watching this video right now? It means every record matters. Your travel history, your tax filings, your work history, even how you maintain your documentation. Immigration officials now have greater discretion than ever before to interpret inconsistencies as violations. And once your case enters review, it's a long, stressful, and expensive process to prove you deserve to stay. Now, let's break down how this shift came about politically. Back in late 2024, Congress failed to pass a comprehensive immigration reform bill that would have protected long-term residents. Instead, the Department of Homeland Security introduced these regulatory updates administratively, meaning they didn't need new laws, just new policy interpretations. That's why many people never saw it coming. It wasn't headline news, it was hidden in the Federal Register, buried under hundreds of pages of legal language. Only when advocacy groups and attorneys started dissecting it did the potential consequences become clear. For many families, this feels like a betrayal. These are people who followed every rule, paid every fee, and done everything asked of them. They built lives here under the assumption that a green card meant stability, and now that foundation is cracking. Imagine spending decades building a life, only to be told one day that a clerical oversight could erase it. And the emotional toll? Immense. Families are delaying travel, skipping visits to loved ones abroad, and holding off on applying for citizenship because they fear the review process could expose them to risk. Communities that once felt secure are now filled with uncertainty. Many people say they're living with the constant anxiety that one letter from USCIS could change their lives overnight. But there's another layer to this story: the public perception. Politically, the term immigration enforcement always polls well. It sounds tough, organized, and necessary. But for those living through it, it's chaos. The narrative that this is about national security doesn't reflect the reality for green card holders who have been part of American society for decades. These are taxpayers, professionals, and parents, not threats. Yet, the language of review and compliance paints everyone with the same brush, creating an atmosphere of fear and distrust. There's also a growing concern among legal experts that this could open the door to selective enforcement. When rules are open to interpretation, the outcomes can vary widely depending on the officer or district handling the case. Two people with identical circumstances could have very different results: one approved, one deported. And that inconsistency is what makes this policy so dangerous. So what can you do if you're a green card holder right now? The first thing is to stay informed. Understand your rights, your obligations, and your paperwork. Make sure your taxes are filed accurately, your address is always up to date with USCIS, and any travel outside the US is properly documented. Lawyers are advising that green card holders avoid unnecessary trips abroad until the enforcement patterns become clearer. It's also crucial to review your status if you've been a permanent resident for several years and are eligible for citizenship. Many attorneys are now recommending that long-term green card holders apply for naturalization sooner rather than later. Why? Because once you're a citizen, you're protected from deportation no matter how rules shift. But applying for citizenship also means going through an intensive background review, which can feel risky under these new regulations. That's why it's important to consult with an immigration attorney before taking that step. Don't rely on rumors or social media posts, rely on professional advice. Let's talk about the bigger picture for a moment. The U.S. has more than 13 million lawful permanent residence people who are the backbone of the workforce, contributing billions to the economy every year. If even a fraction of them lose their status or face deportation, it won't just affect families, it'll shake industries. Hospitals, schools, farms, construction sites all rely heavily on workers who are green card holders. That's why economists are warning that a mass enforcement wave could have unintended consequences far beyond immigration policy. And this isn't just about numbers or laws, it's about people. Every deportation notice is a story: a parent separated from their children, a student forced to leave their school, a worker losing everything they've built. It's easy to talk about immigration in abstract terms until you see the faces behind it. That's why conversations like this one matter, because they put humanity back into the discussion. So where do things go from here? Advocacy organizations are pushing back, calling for clearer definitions and protections for long-term residents. Several members of Congress have already called for a review of how these 2025 rules are being applied, warning that the policy risks unjust removals. But until there's official clarification, the fear will continue, and that's the reality for millions of people right now. Every day, new stories emerge: people being questioned at airports, receiving unexpected letters, or facing delays in renewing documents. The sense of uncertainty is spreading fast. And the truth is, we may not see the full impact of these new 2025 rules for months. That's why staying informed and proactive is so critical right now. If you're watching this, understand this isn't fear-mongering, it's a wake-up call. Immigration rules are changing faster than ever, and knowledge is your best protection. Whether you've had your green card for 5 years or 20, this affects you. Check your status, stay compliant, and make sure every piece of documentation is solid. The government may not make these changes easy to understand, but your future depends on understanding them. This is not the time to ignore the headlines. It's the time to prepare. Talk to your family, talk to a lawyer, talk to your community. Don't let confusion become your downfall. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to live in the US, it's to stay here safely, permanently, and without fear. So as these 2025 rules start to roll out, we'll keep bringing you every update, every detail, and every legal insight that can help protect you. Because when it comes to immigration, what you don't know can hurt you, and sometimes it can take everything away. Stay strong, stay informed, and don't forget you're not alone in this. We'll keep breaking it down step by step, so you know exactly where you stand. And if you found this video helpful or eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button right now, not just to support the channel, but to make sure this vital information reaches other green card holders who need to hear it before it's too late.